So this is one of those moves, and it's really decent. It's a high mid. So even though it's not a natural combo after the 2 first hits, Katarina, it does kind of force them to back off a little bit, so it makes it a little safe. And it's a mid, so even if they try to duck it, it won't be such a big deal. If you hit them, it's 0. So, you know, either way it can be traded. You got your 1-1-2. They're all highs, and it's not a natural combo. So this is one of those you want to be kind of careful. But this is +7 on block. And +9 on hit. You know, it doesn't do anything special, but it is really good. I've used this frame setup a couple times where you do 1-1-2 and then a quick 4, and I've actually gotten more counter hits off of that little shenanigan than trading or anything. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. You got your 1-1-3. I wasn't really gonna mention this because it's -6 on block. However, I find this to be really good. It low crushes for sure, and you know it's really good. It's like I said, it's -6 on block, and it knocks down on hit. I'm not gonna get into the launches just yet. So we already did our 1-2. Next is gonna be your 1-4. This is a natural string, so if that high hits, the low is going to hit. As you can see, however, it can be ducked and blocked, and this is -12. So it's really not launch punishable yet. It can be, depending on who you're fighting. I think the quickest punish is -12 frames. And it's usually a person with a down forward 2. So that's something to be careful with. However, on hit, it's +1. So that's really decent. Not a lot of damage, unfortunately. It's only 17. But it does work. We have her 2-2 string. So this is really decent. It's -11 on block, so it's not the greatest. This is going to be one of your your screw attacks, and as you can see, it does a fair amount of damage, and it's natural. So if that top high hits, the next one's going to hit. The only thing to be aware of is it is -11 on block, so be very careful doing so. So the next one, our next move is going to be our, let's see, give me 1 second. It's going to be our 4-4 string. So I wasn't going to mention this, but it's actually pretty decent. So you have your 4, which obviously, if you guys have watched some from the beginning, is a combo counter launcher. I don't know why like I said, sorry, I mentioned earlier, I am absent-minded. It's only -7 on block, as well as 4-4. It's also only -7 on block. Your 4-4-4 is -5. So honestly, if you're gonna do this string, I would recommend sticking to it. And the reason I mention this string is due to the fact that you can get into a Harrier stance from here. And I'll get more into the moves that can put you into stances here shortly. So you have her forward 3 move. It's -9 on block. Or no, my bad, -8 on block. And as you guys can see, it knocks down on hit. And when it gets blocked, it does kind of give him that pushback and knockdown effect. Or knockdown. Crouch. Horse crouching a little bit. So it makes it a little better. It's really, really good. It's not a super great poke. I think it's 27 startup. My bad. It's 24 startup. My bad. So this is one of those things. Kind of be careful with. You have your 4/1+2. Keep in mind this is a high, and it's -12 on block. However, there's an extension we'll get into in a little bit where that becomes a little bit more situational, but possibly more effective. One second. So you have her down forward 1. It's -1 on block. It's actually +5 on hit. That makes it really, really good. It's only a 13 frame startup, so it's not quite as good as Law or who was the other one? I want to say it was Lee or Claudio. That's who I was thinking of. Nope. No, it's Lee. So Law or Lee's down forward 1s are a little faster. They're -12. Or not 20. They're 12 frame startups. So it's not quite as good as those, but it's still pretty decent. You know, 13 damage as well. Where you're really going to be looking for is going to be her down forward 1/1. It's pretty decent string. It's a mid-high, and if you hold forward, it puts you in her Harrier stance. You have her down forward 2. This is pretty... I wouldn't really worry about this unless you're going to do down forward 2/4. It is a natural combo. Keep in mind that last hit is a high, so it can be ducked if the mid gets blocked. However, if this does land, it's +1, or even if it gets blocked, it's +1 on block, and it's actually +17 on hit. So you're extremely safe with this. This might be a good little frame trap, just because with them doing that whole spin and the distance, a lot of people try to, like, you know, push forward to get closer to you, and by the time they can even move, you could already have something else in there. So I wanted to make sure to mention that. Let's see. I was kind of hesitant, I guess would be the word to use. But she has her down forward 3/3. I mention this because obviously it's not natural. However, I have used this quite a few times to end a lot of fights, as well as to I tend to hit like this tends to hit a lot more against people that are getting up, mostly because people usually get up off counter, and if that is the case, you get a fair 42 damage pretty easily. However, keep in mind, be very, very, very careful with this. It's -18 on block. So my suggestion is maybe if a person knows Katarina pretty well, you can actually hold down and cancel the move, which might be a little bit better. It's not really safer, but it's a lot safer than it being blocked. So, yeah. Her next move is going to be your down forward 4. Now, this is a really, really good move. It counters, it is a launch counter launch. It's -9 on block and +2 on hit. It's a really, really good poke, and this is probably going to be one of your key moves. It's really, really, really good, and it's as long as you don't do anything directly afterwards, you shouldn't get punished for it. It's -9, and initial hit takes about 10. There are some characters that have faster movements, but typically it's always 10 frame moves. So you actually should be safe as long as you don't do anything afterwards. Let's see. What is this one? So you got your down 4, 3+4. Beware of this move because it is fairly seeable. And it's -15 on block. It does have pretty decent range though. Katarina isn't really good for her range, but this is really, really good for range. But keep in mind it's -15 on block. It's actually +1 on hit. So it might be something to whip out every now and again. Another move I wanted to point out is her down 2. Keep in mind, this is also a counter launch, as well as if you hold forward, you go into her Harrier stance. Let's see. And I wouldn't really say this is going to be your key move. It's definitely going to be something you want to start. You want to learn to use in Katarina combos. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. So next you have your down 3, 4. There is a down 3, 3. However, on block it's -12, so it's pretty punishable. It's +1 on hit. It's not natural either, so this is the one you want to be careful with. However, her down 3, 4 is only -4 on block, so this might be a safer situation. Again, my big thing is just be careful using these moves. They're very, very situational. Let's see. So you have 2 more for lows. Give me 1 second. I need to get a drink of water. I'm getting a lot of heartburn today. It's really weird. Anyways, you have her down back 3. Keep in mind, both these next moves I'm showing you are -26, but it'd be remiss of me to it'd be bad of me to not mention these. So you got her down back 3, -26. However, does 24 damage, and I have seen some people use this, and then it usually doesn't get blocked. The move you're probably going to use the most, however, is going to be your down back 4, and I'll get more into that move later. Another move I really, really wanted to point out is going to be your back 3, 4. Or my bad, I'm not that far yet. Okay, my fault, guys. So your next move is going to be your back 1. It's -9 on block, so it's fairly safe. It's 14 frame startup. But the move that you're really going to want to be focused on is your back 1 forward to get into your Harrier stance. It's actually +3. It actually makes it +3 on block, so it's not a bad option to go with. So typically, even if it gets blocked, you should have enough time to pull something else out before they can. You know, if they do like a jab or something, they might, but it rarely ever happens. So definitely keep those in mind. You also have her back 1, 1. As you can see, it's not natural. However, it is -7 on